Logan Summit Show. I am indeed Logan Summit, and it is our last interview of the day today, but it's going to be first in your hearts. I guarantee it. And I guarantee if you go over to newer.com right now and use code Logan to save a bunch of money. What is newer? My whole studio. That light, that teleprompter, that camera stand, that light over there, this green screen down there. It's all newer. So if you're a pro creator or an amateur creator, go over to newer.com, use code Logan. You'll save that money. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, you can find it in the description of this video. All right, without further ado, let's get started. My guest today is Josh Washburn. How you doing, Josh?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic, but I try to wake up like that. Josh, do you have a nickname yet? Have they given you a nickname?
My name for the longest time has been Low Kick Loki for a while.
Oh, thus your Instagram. All right, so let's try it one more time then. My guest today is Josh Low Kick Loki Washburn. See, the Low Kick Loki allows for the Washburn to really kick into high gear. I like it. How'd you get Low Kick Loki, by the way, besides the fact that you probably throw a lot of low kicks, I'm assuming?
I used to have long hair, and I think I came into the gym one day with it braided. And one of my old coaches was calling me Loki. So Loki stuck for a while, and I ended up coaching Muay Thai for him for a while. And then I think my Instagram name was something random, had to do with truck stuff because I was into trucks. And then, trying to come up with a name, and one of my other coaches was like, hey, well, you always do low kicks. You always get the low kick on me, so why don't you just do Low Kick Loki? So I ran with it.
All right. Well, I like it. Did you know for the longest time, low kicks were not a thing in the UFC at all? And
Yep.
Joe Rogan used to sit there and bitch and moan about how no one was using low kicks. He's like, it's effective if you just kick him in the leg. And I think at one point he goes, look, if he can't stand, he can't fight. You know, I mean, and we've seen it be so effective in recent years. It's amazing that we went through about 20 years of not really utilizing the low kick in MMA and more importantly, the UFC. But we've had fights that have been stopped now because of low kicks. I've always said, if you're in a street fight, punch them in the throat and walk away, because if they can't breathe, they can't fight. And you know what? If you can't stand, you can't fight as well.
Yep, that's true.
All right. So you are 5'7". You are in the 140-pound weight class division. Do you walk around at 140 pounds, or do you have to cut weight?
I think right now I'm like 142. I've checked my weight for the first time yesterday. I haven't checked it in a while, so it's not a real drastic weight cut or anything. Usually I like to keep it in that range. I don't like cutting weight.
Yeah, well, no one likes. I don't think there's anyone who's like, oh, goody, I get to cut 14 pounds this fight. Oh, I'm so in. Get out the trash bags and turn up the heat. Yeah. No one's doing that, all right?
I think at this level, it doesn't really matter too much, you know. You want to definitely be on the lower end, so I wouldn't go up to something like 145 or 150. I would definitely cut, and if the only thing available is 135, I would go down to 135. I'm not going to 145. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 135 would be your best bet, especially at 5'7". No offense, but we're the same height. So, hey,
Right.
But let's go through the celebrities who are shorter than us. Would you like to do that real quick?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a ton. Sylvester Stallone is shorter than us. Tom Cruise, shorter than us. George Clooney is only like a couple inches taller than us, by the way, on a good day, depending on which shoes he wears. That badass, I forget his name. He has his own taco company. He's got the tattoos all over here. Oh, I can't remember his name, but if we had a picture of him, because I'm old, by the way, but if I had a picture of him, you go, oh, that guy, the guy who plays a badass Latino in every single film, he's like 5'1". Anyways.
I think I know who you're talking about. I can't. Is it Danny Trejo?
Yes, there you go. Yes, Danny Trejo. He's got his own company. He's like Depending on where you hear it from, he's either 5'1" or 5'3". Either way, shorter than us.
Yep.
All right. So you're out there in Galt, California. What's that like?
Galt's a rather small town for the area, but it's right in between Stockton and Sacramento. So everything's close. We have major stuff here. It's not like the city's super small and rural, but it is more on the rural side for this area. Uh, there's not a whole lot of gyms here, which is cool because I have my gym that I just started not that long ago, Galt Muay Thai or Galt Martial Arts Academy. And recently, the gym I'm doing jiu-jitsu with, the team I'm doing jiu-jitsu with, opened up last year in January, which was a Charles Gracie school. So they're the first jiu-jitsu spot here, and I'm the first Muay Thai spot here.
That's absolutely fantastic. Maybe you guys can get together and create an Ultimate Fighter.
Hopefully.
I'm just saying, I mean, that's how the cookie crumbles or how the batter mixes, whichever way you want to go. Do you ever just float down to Stockton and try to pick a fight with the Diaz brothers?
No, I actually got my start training with them when they were in Lodi.
Oh, really? Now,
I've 2014 or 15.
I've had the pleasure of being around them a few times. If one person came up to you and was like, describe the Diaz brothers, how would you go about doing that?
I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of interactions with them when I was there. I was mainly around Nate. He coached a couple classes one here and there, Nick wasn't around a whole lot. He did coach some classes, but primarily Nick was there. And Nick was really cool to be around. I think they might get a bad rap a little bit just because
they do.
Just because they're them. But they're really cool to be around and have coach you.
They were kind of like the first Logan and Jake Paul of MMA, guys who would go out there as brothers and say whatever the heck they wanted to with no regrets. And obviously they're better fighters than the Paul brothers. No offense, guys, but they are, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, they are. And you know what? And furthermore, how do you feel about the influence in boxing and MMA? Do you think it's good that it's got the eyes on it, or do you think it's taking away from the sweet science of the sports?
I think for the size of the audience, I think that it would pull people in that maybe wouldn't have watched it before, because whoever liked watching these influencers and stuff, and they see a boxing match come up, they're probably going to watch the boxing match. So it's good on that aspect that it's bringing new people in. But at the same time, I don't really like it too much, But more people in the community is always better.
Yes, it brings eyes on the sport. But you know what? If somebody offered you a bag of cash to beat up on an influencer, I'm going to guess you'd be right there in line going, let me at him!
For sure.
Definitely, right? I mean, hey, if somebody wants to get punched in the face, neck, chest, and breast area, by all means, you'll be the dude to do it for them.
Yep.
All right. And you know what? Speaking of watching fights, on May 24th, we can all watch you right here on millions.co. Subs on the Shore. You will be fighting a dude named Bradley Ranch. It sounds like a place I stayed during the summer to ride horses. Hey, I'm just going for a couple weeks over at Bradley Ranch. I'll be back. Hey, Josh, I got a joke for you. Actually, it's not that funny, but let's act as though it is. Hey, Josh, do you know what Bradley's favorite dipping sauce is?
Ranch.
No! Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yes, it's ranch. No. Oh, God. I mean, his parents knew. And Bradley, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, man, but come on, Bradley Ranch, it's just fun. I mean, if I were to make a wooden sign out of your name, people would have a hard time telling that there wasn't an actual ranch behind the sign. I'm just saying. It sounds like a place I want to visit. All right. You're technically 2-0 right now. Do you know Bradley's record?
Bradley's actually the name of the location of the event.
So it's at Bradley's Ranch? But I saw a flyer with the name under the fighter, and it said Bradley Ranch. So it's not my fault. It's the person who did the social media flyer. It's your fault. Your fault. bad social media director, bad social media director. All right, now that you could have stopped me earlier as I went all in on the Bradley Ranch jokes, but I assume you were enjoying yourself. All right, what the heck is the name of your opponent then?
Thompson Fiegel.
Okay, so that's better? Come on, dude. I mean, it's almost like you're making this stuff up. Thompson Fiegel? Oh, I think I'm interviewing him tomorrow or the next day, actually.
You probably are.
I am, actually. I am. He's got he's got a hyphenated last name. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I'll have to address his name when we get to him. But have you been able to check out any tape on this dude? Is there any weaknesses that you can spot with your little eye?
It's kind of like me. I don't have my name on any of my social medias where I have my fight footage, unless he knows to look at Gulp Martial Arts Academy or Gulp Muay Thai. He could probably find it from there. But like, I have Low Kick Loki on there and not my real name at all.
Yeah, you were hard to find. I had to find you on Facebook of all places, but I had to start. It was easier to find you starting at Facebook and work out that way. Seriously.
So I couldn't find anything on him, and this sounds a little crazy, but you can actually search. I used our fighter matchup, the flyer, and search from his face to see if I could see any cross references anywhere to find a profile. I found I found a profile on American Grappling Federation, but it doesn't show me anything. I had a profile on there too.
You know what? Ironically, his OnlyFans profile was the easiest way to garner information. Just way too many feet pics to actually get through, right? I mean, I'm just saying. All right, so you guys are both going to come into this pretty young to the game as far as getting in there. What are you going to concentrate on, and what are some of the things that you can control and you'll be looking to make sure are in tip-top shape so that your hand gets raised at the end of the day?
When I go into fights, I don't too much have like a game plan, so to say. That's one thing I've learned over the years. I've done a whole bunch of different martial arts, and I have maybe 60 to 70 competitive matches between all of them. And when I have a game plan, it seems to all go downhill, right? So it's easier to just go with the flow and see what happens.
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mike Tyson said it, and he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
Yep, everything changes once you get in there. So there's no reason to have a plan, especially at this level when we don't have footage to look at.
Right.
We can't exploit weaknesses if you don't know what the weakness is. You got to be able to find the weakness on the fly and take advantage of it in real time.
Well, and that's a great learning experience for you. And you know what? I've talked to a lot of young fighters, and a lot of them say their coaches tell them not to focus on the person, but to focus on themselves and make sure that they're prepared for whatever that person can throw at them. So some fighters have come in here and said, my coaches won't even tell me who I'm fighting because I'm not there to where we need to work on me before we need to work on them. And when you're a young in a career, right, it might just be more beneficial to work on your weak points as opposed to trying to exploit another person's weak points, because if they find out your weak points, guess what?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, they're going to just try to do the same thing. Now, you said you did some coaching. How did coaching teach and benefit you inside of the ring?
It more or less made me understand. I mainly coach striking. I haven't coached jiu-jitsu or anything. But as for striking, once I started coaching, it made me look at everything from a different viewpoint and start to understand how I can explain things to people to get them to be able to get a grasp on it, which actually gave me a better grasp on everything myself by looking at it from a different point of view. Because initially, when you first start coaching, it's like the first way you would explain things sometimes don't really work out for everybody. So then over time, you start learning different ways to explain the same thing. And then you're like, oh, okay, that clicks even better with me now.
You should make videos for YouTube after you figure out the way it clicks, because we learn so much from YouTube. And fighters do it too. I mean, you can learn how to put in a kitchen sink, or you can learn how to do a Darce choke. It's all available. It's all available on there. But seriously, I mean, one of the reasons or one of the things that you look for in a YouTube creator, somebody that speaks to you, somebody that you can understand step by step what they're saying, how they're saying, and how they got from place A to place B to place C, and so forth. So maybe when you figure that out, maybe you should throw some videos up on YouTube and become a content creating star.
Possibly. I actually do YouTube videos right now, but not fight related.
All right. Well, speaking of all of the stuff that you do that's not fight related, I mean, go to this dude's social media. We've got motorcycles, we got snowboarding, we got skating, we got video games, all the things that I don't really do that much anymore, but have loved in my entire life. At 46 years old, look, if I get on a skateboard, want to know how Logan broke a hip? Yep, that's how. I would love to go to a skate park. Love to. Yeah. But that's how I break a hip, literally. Literally. Now, between all of the extreme sports that I just mentioned, which is your favorite?
I didn't mention it, but I actually enjoy surfing the most out of them all. It's just living in Galt. It's like kind of a long drive. I like to go out to Capitola, which is near Santa Cruz. It's probably been 4 or 5 months since I've went out.
I'm sorry, did you say Capicola? That's a great sandwich.
Capitola.
All right, close enough. But yeah, I didn't mention surfing because I figured you probably surfed if you did everything else, but I looked at a map and you're not exactly next to the ocean. Yeah.
It's a ways. It's 2.5 hours if there's no traffic.
Oh, and there's always traffic. I don't care where you are in California. Yep. Gosh forbid you're in LA, though. Oh, yeah. God. Man, I went there for the Esports Awards, and they, at the hotel where everybody's about to get in their limos and go over to the venue, right? And I get in, and we've all got our drinks in our hands. We're having a good time at the bar already. And I get in, the driver looks back at us. We're all in tuxedos and dresses and stuff. And he looks back and he goes, "Should have been here 5 minutes ago." And I was like, "All right, Mr. Cryptic, what's up?" Like, he goes, your ride just went from 24 minutes to 1 hour and 42 minutes. And I was like, "Well, sir, I would be looking for bathrooms on the way there. I'm just saying for your own edification. I'm old. We've been at a bar. We're going to need to stop." And we did stop. And by the way, I'm in a full tuxedo at a taco shop where you have to get the key from somebody. Dude takes one look at me, just hums the key at me and goes, "You're okay." I was like, "Yeah, I'm in a tuxedo. What's the worst I can do? Ruin my tuxedo, most likely." So, do you have multiple motorcycles, or do you just ride the one?
I have the most recent one that's posted is a Kawasaki Dual Sport. I just got that maybe 2 months ago, but I also have some dirt bikes and a Harley as well.
Ooh, Harleys for the long rides, right? Where you just go up and down the California coastline and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I'm starting to like the dual sport stuff a little bit more now, though, because you could take a dirt road and, get off the main trail.
Yeah, and there's tons of off the main trail in California. I mean, there's lots of places to explore. And there's lots of places to explore fighting options as well. What keeps you at home in Galt?
I grew up here, so I just like the area. I love it. It's right in the middle of everything, it seems like.
Yeah, well, that's an excellent answer. And you have your family and friends around you as well?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, well, and you know what? That's super important to have your support team around you and making sure that you're doing the right things and moving in the right direction. And it's always good to hear somebody cheering your name, right?
Yep.
Is there anybody in your family who's like, "I really wish you would stop fighting"?
No, not really. No, not at all, to be honest.
Not at all. So who got you into it then? Was it a family member?
My mom actually got me into Kempo. That was the first thing I did. And it was because I was getting into fights and losing.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Now, what did you find out the reason that you were losing?
Because I didn't know anything, and I was always the smaller guy, and when somebody wanted to talk down to me or whatever, I would never stop, or I would never back down from the fight, but right. I would always take the beating instead of just avoiding it.
So you're tough, but you might not be the smartest one in the room, right?
At least not back then.
Right?
A little different now in the day.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. Look, dude, we all go through stuff, especially on the playground, man. Hey, I'll tell you, the first time I got into a real, I got knocked out and then woken up by a punch. Two guys were holding my arms. By the way, this is sixth grade, mind you. Yeah, sixth grade. And two guys are holding my arms. This kid, Josh Fine, is just punching bagging me. Literally knocked me out on my feet and woke me up with another punch. The only thing I could do, I think he got tired for a second, to be honest with you. Not enough cardio in that young man. And he stopped for a second. The only thing I could do was take all the blood that was running down my face and spit it at him. And want to know what I did, Josh? I ruined that shirt that he was wearing, okay? Because mom's not getting those stains out, all right? So you go to Camp Out, you learn how to throw punches in bunches, and you learn how some technique. Now, did kids stop? What did it take for kids to stop picking on you? That next fight after a few months of training?
Yes, honestly, yeah. To keep it short, there was a situation where one of my friends thought he was going to get jumped outside of a store, so he called me on the phone and I showed up. I'm 16 at this point, and the guy that was causing all the problems was in his mid-20s.
Oh, he needs to settle the down, okay?
Yeah. So, he ended up still trying to fight the guy that called me to back him up in case something did happen. And the guy that called me, he's obviously not a fighter, didn't want any confrontation. It was really a misunderstanding. They shouldn't have been arguing in the first place. So he was backing up with his hands out, like I'm not going to touch you. And the other guy was started swinging on him and knocked my friend down. And then I threw one combo on him. All I did was jab cross and then cross falled with a head kick. I had steel toe boots on. And that was my first and only knockout, and it was kind of scary, to be honest. It was
Yeah,
really
you weren't
scary.
sure if
I
he was
thought I
going to
was going
get
to get
up
in
from
trouble.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing is he should have
scared.
gone to jail, though. 22-year-olds aren't allowed to pick fights with people under 18. Actually, you know what? You shouldn't be picking fights outside of a regulation fight where you have to sign on the dotted line. There's no reason to fight outside of a ring unless your friends are in trouble. If your friends are in trouble, then you go for it. Everybody's got to support their friends. I get that. But besides that, you can always walk away.
Yep.
And I've always been taught if anybody ever, you're about to get into a fight and just somebody rolls up and is like, "Sa," and just stops right in front of your face, that's them letting you know that it's your chance to walk away. All right. So that's how you got in the fight game. What keeps you motivated to stay in it and to keep learning, to keep progressing, and to get up and go to the gym every day?
It's kind of different now that I run a program, so I have to be there, right?
Right.
And to keep teaching, I have to keep learning. So, I mean, I can teach what I already know, but we're only going to get so far. So I got to keep learning. I train with my coach Tony Dominguez at Beyond Limits Muay Thai in Victor, which is right outside of town. I try to get over there as much as I can, but what really drives me is teaching and trying to pass it on to the next generation. That's the main reason I'm still competing. That's what keeps me going for the most part. Is I want to set an example for the kids that I do coach. What it's like to actually fight and compete. I don't really have aspirations or desires to go super far with it. It's more about a mental battle with myself, just to put myself through hell sometimes to do it, to be like, if you want to fight, this is what you got to do. And I'm trying to lead my guys by example and not just tell them what to do and not do it.
Yeah, you know what? Leading by example is, especially in the fight game, it's one of those things, right? Look, but you can be a great look. Most boxing coaches that I saw look like they never threw a punch in their entire lives, right? I'm just saying.
It's hard to find a coach.
Angelo, you gonna tell me Angelo threw punches? He was like waddling around Mike Tyson his whole career, going, "You punch harder, son. You punch harder." Now, what were you gonna say, Josh?
actually pretty hard to find a coach that's good at competing as well as good at coaching. You know, they're completely different skills. And I started coaching pretty early, I would say, and I picked it up really fast. And I honestly think I'm more on the side of a coach than a competitor.
Okay.
Um, and that's where I see myself going in the future is just to keep pursuing coaching and to fight to just improve myself to better them in my
So you're
coaching.
competing to be a better coach at this point.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. You know what? That's good stuff. If I was
Yep.
one of your students, I'd be like, yeah, let's go coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And you're right. You can only go to where you know, right? So you got to keep progressing and keep doing your thing.
Yep.
Hey, if I'm ever out there in that area of Cali, out in Galt, I'll have to stop by and say hi sometime.
Yes,
All right.
sir. Anytime.
I appreciate that, my friend. Now, you will be fighting Subs on the Shore May 24th. I interviewed a 9-year-old little lady who's going to be making her debut fighting in the kids section of that the other day. Can you believe that? 9 years old, and she's going to make her first competition.
Yeah, that's always sweet to see. You know, they're fun to watch. I haven't been to one of the Subs on the Shore yet, but we have another promotion around here, and I saw when they had the younger kids go up there. It's pretty cool considering uh, the level of pressure that they have at that age and being able to
Right.
deal with that and being in front of a crowd. Because when I was wrestling in high school, it wasn't very enjoyable, and there wasn't really a crowd. Nobody cared except for your team and the opponent's team. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But these kids, you said 9 year old. She probably already has like a following on Instagram that don't even really know her and are keeping up on her and stuff like that. So it's cool to see that.
Yeah, her name's Violet. I told her she was so close to being named Purple, she doesn't even know it. But that being said, she's going to go out there and give it her best at 9 years old. I mean, could you picture yourself competing at such a young age?
No, not really. The first time I competed, I think I was 14.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
kids are built differently these days, man.
yeah, especially in the jujitsu world, it seems
Right.
like if they don't start real young, they might not stick with it. You know,
Hmm.
it's kind
Yeah,
of different.
you're finding a lot more kids getting into the gym at 5, 6 years old,
Yeah,
which is crazy. But you know what? And I say this a lot. I know everybody. Let's get. Maybe I'm gonna have to put it on a T-shirt. It's kind of a long phrase, but um, going to the gym keeps kids off of the streets, and when you keep kids off of the streets, you keep them off of drugs, and drugs are bad. So
yeah,
it really benefits these kids to get them into a gym, even if they're not going to be the next John Jones or don't want to be the next John Jones. Just the amount of community and the amount of physical welfare and mental welfare that you can get out of a gym experience is worth it. I know some parents
definitely.
have trepidations about their kids getting punched in the face. Guess what? It's going to happen one way or the other.
Yep, most
Chances
definitely.
chances are you're going to get punched in the face at least once in your life. You might as well be prepared for it.
Yep, but
Now, go ahead.
the gym community is like the biggest thing, you know.
Mhm.
For a while I was drinking a lot too, like super heavy, and that's what pulled me back out of it was the community of the gym.
Oh, that's great. You see positivity around you and you see that you are making a difference in these other people's lives. So you wanted to better your own life so that when
Yep,
you are looked upon by outside forces, you know that you're giving your best foot forward, correct?
yep. That was about 3 years ago. So that's when I started competing again. I took a little bit off, was getting busy with work and stuff.
Mhm.
So then it pulled me back into competing at that point too. So I guess that community kind of ties back into driving factors you were talking about earlier about competing.
Yeah, it does. Now, this is the segment that hopefully will be sponsored next week by monkeytilt.com. But this is the area where I ask you to give me your prediction. How's the fight going to end?
Um, I hope he doesn't watch this because then he'll know. He'll know. It's gonna end by a submission by somebody.
Shh. Be very, very quiet. We are hunting fighters.
Somebody's gonna get a submission. I would
I,
hope.
I'm not saying who, but somebody's going to get a submission. I won't ask you which one. We'll check in with you after this fight because you know what? I am interviewing your opponent, it's either I think it's in 2 days. So I don't want you to divulge all the secrets right now, but. But somebody's going to win by submission. It is called Subs on the Shore, for the love of God. I mean, at least we got the naming rights right. All right. So before we get to 5 questions, which is the game show that I'm sure all the fighters are talking about in the locker rooms and in the gyms, we'll get to that in just a moment. Before we get to that, I'd like to give you a personal moment. This is a place where you can thank your sponsors, talk trash to sponsors that you'd like to have, thank your mom, your dad, talk about video games. I don't care what you do right here. This is your time. It's your time down here. It's their time up there. Go ahead, Josh.
I would just like to say thank you to all of my teams everywhere, which there's a lot of them. Charles Gracie and Galt, Beyond Limits Muay Thai, Rivals at War MMA, my own team, Galt Martial Arts Academy or Galt Muay Thai, all of my team, all of those teams, everybody there that helps me get ready for all of the events and, you know, work together and grow together, as well as my family and all that good stuff. And we have one sponsor, which is Next Generation's Barbershop, which is in Galt, California.
All right, Next Generation Barbershop, keeping Josh Washburn and the crew looking so fresh and so clean. And you can too if you're ever in Galt. Make sure you stop by and say hi. There you go. They'll like that. You can cut that. You can cut that up. Send it to them. You know, they'll love that. They'll be like, "Who the is that guy with the mustache?" I don't know. He used to be on ESPN or something. I don't know. All right, there we go. That's your personal moment for the day. Before we get to 5 questions, one more time, Josh Washburn will be fighting on May 24th. Subs on the Shore at Bradley Ranch against the dude who's got I believe his name's Fergie. And we'll be talking to him in the next couple of days. Although, he just canceled his appointment with me. No, he didn't. He didn't cancel the interview. All right, let's get to 5 questions. It's exactly what it sounds like, Josh. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Hopefully you can answer them. There may be a couple bonus questions here and there because I don't do math. I do commentary, okay? All right, number 1, all of these extracurricular extreme sports that you do, we know that team sports help you in singular sports like combat sports. Do these skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, riding the motorcycle, all this stuff, does it help you in the ring?
Skateboarding does for sure. I'm sure all the other ones do. You know, there's a different kind of cardio when you do them all. And a lot of the times when you're out skateboarding or something, especially like this time of year, it's getting hotter. You're getting really used to those high temperatures and being able to move around well in those high temperatures. Like I'll skateboard on a 100-degree day. It doesn't matter to me. Being strong, if you've seen skateboarding, people fall and getting back up. It's all a mindset, you know, so it does help.
When you get knocked down, you got to get back up again in life and in the ring. And skateboarding, you're going to get knocked down more times than you're not. That's for sure. Right? All right. Now, I grew up skateboarding. I went so far as to call myself, my first radio name was my favorite skateboarder growing up. Frankie Hill from Powell Peralta. Ban this. That video, the gaps that dude makes, and forget about it, bro. You've never seen gap jumping like that. Frankie Hill he was just amazing. I've actually been in contact with him. He went into dentistry for a while, and now that social media is around, he's selling his skateboards and doing his thing because, the Powell Peralta legacy is a big one. It's a big one now, especially as we look back on Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen and everything that they brought to the sport. So my question is, who's your favorite skateboarder?
Kind of like cliche, I guess, but I really like Tony Hawk just because of everything he does for the industry. I really enjoyed his podcast that he had, Hawk versus Wolf, with Jason Ellis for a long time.
Tony's right over there. Tony's right over there with the autograph right there, throwing it down. He didn't write anything personal on it though. I was kind of upset. Like he just it was like he made somebody give me that. He's like, "Oh, it's suitable for framing." I'm like, dude. All right, thanks, Tony. Look, he's done so much for the sport, but you know what I saw the other day? I saw a 9-year-old kid do a 900 in a pool.
Oh, no way.
He did it in a pool, which, if you're unfamiliar with skateboarding, that's next to impossible.
Yeah.
Especially
That's
for a
crazy.
kid that age. Yeah, he was either 9 or 12, one or the other. But either way, ridiculously young to be pulling a 900, let alone in a concrete pool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
No. I have no clue. I remember writing it down once and I said I wanted to be like an astronaut or something to that effect. I don't know. I didn't
Makes
really.
makes me want to go back to White Men Can't Jump and be like, your mama's an astronaut, man. Yeah, you know what? I think we all wanted to be an astronaut at one point. Except my generation got to see the Challenger in real time in all of our classrooms when we were in second grade. Yeah, that was second grade. I'll never forget the look on the teachers' faces as they rushed to shut those TVs off. You could hear them all. You could every TV in every classroom in America was shut off at the same time, with all these kids going, but what just happened? Let your parents explain it to you. Anyways. I didn't know what I wanted to. You know what I wanted to be? I wanted to be a
What?
businessman because I was boring as a kid, man. Yeah, no, I'm like, let me just make a little bit of that money.
That's
Didn't
where I
care.
am now.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't care how. Let me just get there. And
Yeah.
it takes everything we got, but you're working towards it, and I appreciate
Yes,
the
sir.
fact that you got your own gym. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
All right, question number 4. On your Facebook page, you got some gaming stuff. Let's talk about your favorite video game of all time. You can only play one video game. You're stuck on an island with a console or a computer. What's the one game you play?
Oh man, that's hard. Lately, I haven't really been into video games much anymore, but if there was something that would probably keep me interested long enough in that situation, it would probably be something like Skyrim.
Yes, that's my answer to that question. I got 600 hours in that. I do. I got sick. And somebody told me the other day that there's an actual ending to the main storyline. How do you play to the main storyline? You didn't do everything else on the map.
Yep.
And that's why I spent 600 hours in that thing. Want to know why I quit playing?
Takes up too much time.
Well, that's one of them. But really, the reason that I stopped playing that game, I mean, I just don't have enough time for video games right now, for the most part. But the reason I stopped playing that is my NPC character that was with me, that held all my cool stuff that I couldn't hold, they kept killing him in this one mission. And I even had him wait at the front when I went into the cave, and they came out and killed him anyways. And I was like, no, all right, God. That's it. I quit. I'm done.
There's a lot of glitches
No,
in that game.
God, please,
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens often.
No. Great game though, and definitely a game you could sink your teeth into for a long time.
Yeah.
The most obvious answer though is Minecraft or Roblox, because you can just do whatever you want in those games. But I appreciate your Skyrim answer because you and I are both on that track. All right, question number 5, and the last question of 5 questions. What is your biggest fear?
I don't even know. I don't really know.
I can throw some stuff out there.
Yeah, throw it out.
All right, rattlesnakes, spiders,
No.
losing. All right. Waking up and having a face tattoo like Steve-O.
I got a face tattoo already.
All right, hold on a second. Let's talk about that. All right, because I can't tell from here, but I have a rule. There are only 2 types of people. Well, there's one person and there's one type of person that are allowed to have face tattoos. One is Mike Tyson, because you're going to tell him he can't have a face tattoo. No, you are not. And 2, people who give themselves face tattoos, because you do not want to mess around with somebody who gives themselves a face tattoo. I'm assuming you had somebody do it professionally.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Not as much fun, but still. Oh, wow. All right. See, that's kind of a cool tat. Yeah. All right. It's not Post Malone. I like that. All right. You know what? I can sign off on that.
All right.
All right. But honestly, do you have anything that scares you intrinsically? Heights? I don't know.
Heights a little bit,
Yeah.
but I snowboard and stuff, so
Right.
there's heights involved with that.
Yeah.
But
How's those
no,
chairlifts
with
treating you, bro?
chairlift does stop at Heavenly after last week they just had somebody fall off and get hurt.
Okay.
Happened this year. We were stuck on the lift for like 10 minutes, and I was just talking to my buddy that was sitting next to me about how, like last week, 4 people got hurt and fell off, and I was like, shit, we're going to be the next ones.
Well, that's not a very positive attitude to have. But
No.
but I see. Well, I used to think to myself, if I just strap in, I can make this. Like if
Yeah.
I just lock in, oh yeah, let me hit the powder below. I got this. Needless to say, my ankles, my knees blown out. I'm sitting there going, "Help me!" Now you don't jump off of the chairlift, and you know what? Don't even lift the bar up. Keep the bar down. All right.
I think I'd
Don't.
rather jump than have it fall.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would much rather jump than falling. Jump, at least you're controlled, and you can try to tuck and roll with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can only imagine what that. No, you know what? I can't imagine. That's my biggest fear now. Thanks, Josh. Good job, bro. All right. Well, Josh Washburn will be fighting May 24th. Subs on the Shore at Bradley Ranch. We're going to see his competition right here on the Logan Summit show in a couple days, right here on millions.co. You'll be able to see Subs on the Shore right here on millions.co. I do appreciate you being here with us, Josh.
Appreciate you having me.
All right. And I appreciate you at home for checking us out as always. We'll be back tomorrow with another interview and so much more fun. Yeah, I know. So much fun you can barely shake a stick at it, my Nana used to say. All right. Do me one favor. Be good to yourself and be kind to others. Pay it forward, play it forward. Rock like a party star, party like a rock star. Smile strong, laugh loud, and last but not least, please like, follow, and subscribe. Check out newhouse.com, newer.com in the links below. And we've got merch now. And we're going to have merch for my favorite way that I end every show. Josh, thanks for being here. And don't forget, everybody loves a good fight. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.